Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, and a hey now, and a hey now, and a hey now, and a hey now. Our number two of the line, Talk 99.5 and Talk995.com. Welcome in, everybody. Glad you are here today. If you want to get in on the show, 205 545 9950 545 9950. Don't forget about us on YouTube. We are on YouTube at Real Talk 99.5 TV. Real Talk 99.5 TV. And on all the social medias and everything else. You know how to find us. You know where all that's at. So last night you had the Grammys, which I did not watch, but in retrospect, because it was so politically charged, I kind of wish I did watch it just to get the full scope of it. Although it would have been incredibly infuriating. I try to keep the people of Hollywood and the people of the music industry in perspective, if you will. Like I think most of them are weirdos at the end of the day. I think most of them are weird people. They're not just your average people that just happen to hit it big and everything. It's just a whole bunch of weird people. Okay, there's no way around that. But as you can imagine, there was a lot of politics, a lot of artists that took to the stage and said this and said that. The host was Trevor Noah, and at one point he um, said something about Trump and the Epstein files. I think he said song of the year. I guess he was talking about Billie Eilish won Song of the Year. He said, "Song of the Year, that is a Grammy that every artist wants almost as much as Trump wants Greenland," which makes sense because Epstein's island is gone. He needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. And it was interesting to me because he said that Donald Trump, which is completely untrue, that he was on Epstein Island. He said he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So he added Bill Clinton into that, which is not something the left prefers to do. Uh, but then immediately followed it with, "Oh, y'all get over it. I told you this was my last time hosting the the Grammys," as if he's that one guy. Who was that one guy, Ricky Gervais, who hosted and said all the stuff about Epstein and pedophile movies and all that. He was trying. I took it as like he was trying to be that guy, but it's not going to work. There's not nobody else is going to have the balls to go up there and do what Ricky Gervais did. But anyway, Donald Trump responded as he always does to Trevor Noah. Apparently, he either watched it or saw clips of it. He said the Grammy Awards are the worst, virtually unwatchable. CBS is lucky not to have this garbage litter their airwaves any longer. The host, Trevor Noah, whoever he may be, is almost as bad as Jimmy Kimmel at the low ratings Academy Awards. Noah said incorrectly about me that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein Island nor anywhere close, and until tonight's false and defamatory statement, have never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah, a total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue this poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC and suing him for plenty of money. Ask little George Lapadopoulos and others how that all worked out. Also, ask CBS. Get ready, Noah. I'm going to have some fun with you, President JT. And what's crazy about it is like he's probably not joking. He probably is about to sue Trevor Noah, which would be crazy. Crazy. Though I'll tell you though, the one thing that I took away the biggest takeaway from the Grammys um, that I saw clips of. I guess I saw this last night or this morning or what. I think it was this morning. I think it was the first thing that I saw was an acceptance speech from Jelly Roll. And everybody knows who Jelly Roll is at this point. He's a guy with quite the past, an ex-convict, been to prison, been through a bunch of stuff, and worked his way back up into, I guess initially he was doing rap songs, and then, it was like country or I don't know what genre you would describe it, but now he just kind of does he's almost in a genre all his own at this point, and I've got mad respect for the guy. And while I watched all of these weirdos get up on stage and make these comments and talk about f ice, this and that, to go from all that to see Jelly Roll go on stage and give his acceptance speech in the manner that he did, it was so refreshing. I want you to listen to what he said. And so here's this is what's crazy. What struck me about that is one, obviously, that was a phenomenal acceptance speech. Maybe the best one I've ever heard at any kind of award show. Um, at the Grammys, whether it's the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever, where these, Hollywood elites gather, it's always come off as such a, a godless venue. Like that it's just it's just a get together of some of the most, I don't know, demonic forces. I'll just say it. That's the vibe I get. Like there's a lot of evil in the room when all of these people get together. And so to see Jelly Roll go up on stage and say the things he said in front of all of those people, most of which do not agree, in him saying, listen, Jesus is not Republican, he's not Democrat, he's not this, he's not that. He's for everybody, including all of you in this room, and not just the people in the room, but all across the world that was watching that. I think that was such a powerful message, and it reminded me of something I saw on Joe Rogan's podcast just recently. He was I'm not even And so I saw that, I had seen that, I guess, a day or 2 ago, and then when I saw Jelly Roll's speech, I thought to myself, "You know what? That was the perfect example of what Joe Rogan was talking about." When you saw Jelly Roll get on that stage and have just what can only be described as pure joy oozing from him as he accepted that award and thanked his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and, talked about how he brought him from the pits of hell on earth to living a beautiful life, that it's a joy that nobody can take away. And so when Joe Rogan says, if there was a pill that was offered by the pharmaceutical companies that could give you the joy that you see out of somebody like Jelly Roll, or you see coming out of true Christian believers, everybody would be taking that pill. Everybody. It's because everybody would want that level of happiness. Everybody would want that joy. The catch is everybody's able to get it. It's available, as Jelly Roll noted. It's available for everybody. You just got to get it. You just got to accept it. And so many people refuse to do so, and it's why you see so much hate, so much division, so much anger in the world, how it's amplified by social media. People aren't just angry, but they want to post their anger online. They want to record themselves having mental breakdowns in their vehicles. You know, you ask yourself, like, these people need help. Like, they're genuinely miserable people, and that's your answer right there. And I thought it was just super cool that the entire world got to hear that last night. And you didn't even have to be watching the Grammys to see it, because again, in the day and age of social media, just as bad stuff can be posted, good stuff like this can be posted, and I hope it gets as many eyeballs as humanly possible for people to see that and say to themselves, man, I want that. I want that right there. Kathy's on the line. Kathy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. I don't know if you heard there was an ICE officer injured in Alabaster doing a raid this morning. I
I'm not,
can't find any information on it on the news right now, but just curious.
I have not seen anything on that. You say Alabaster?
Yep, off of Fulton Springs Road.
Let's
Had
see.
I known, I would have taken my pots and pans and beat the people up that they were trying to pick up.
Well, okay, so it says ICE agent was injured this morning while attempting to serve papers on an individual in what they say was a targeted enforcement.
Mhm.
An altercation broke out while federal agents were searching for a person on Shady Acres Lane. The woman injured, an unidentified ICE agent, was treated by a local fire department. They say she's going to be okay. ICE agents on the scene were being assisted by local authorities from Birmingham, Helena, and Alabaster. ICE
Wow.
actively searching for the individual involved in the altercation, as authorities say there is no danger to the public. So that's the information that's out there right now, from what I can see.
Okay. Well, I couldn't find anything on it. Somebody sent me email about it, but okay. Well, I support ICE, so
But
more power to them, and I hate it when they get hurt.
that's right. Well, Kathy, I appreciate it.
Okay. You have a good day.
You too. Yeah, it seems like that ICE officer is okay. It doesn't really give. I don't know that I'm following how this played out. They say that they were doing a targeted enforcement, as they say. So they had somebody on their radar, which is most of the time what ICE is doing. They're looking for a particular individual or multiple individuals. They go to the last known place of where they lived or where they work or whatever, and hem them up. And it says that an altercation broke out while they were searching for the person on Shady Acres Lane. And I'm looking at a map of this, and I'm trying to. This right off of 65 and uh so it looks like Jason's Auto, Shelby Fence Company, right there in that area. If I back out, yeah, that seems to be kind of south of Alabaster, I guess, going towards Colera. But nonetheless, they say she's okay. Maybe more information will come out about that as time goes along. But back to my original point before I hit this break. Um, that joy, again, is available for anybody and everybody, no matter what your political beliefs are. I understand that I get on here and I say to myself, or I say to you guys, there's so much evil on the other side of the political aisle that it's hard to fathom that, you know, some can proclaim that, they're Christian or that they're believers or whatever and support such evil things and vote for such evil things. But at the end of the day, whether that's right or wrong, it's still available to those people. That joy is still available to them. And, I pray that they find it, you know, I really do, because ultimately that's the end of the day. You can have money, you can have success, you can have a job that you like and everything else, but nothing's going to bring you true joy until you understand that that's that's where it lies. 205-545-9950. More of the line coming up. with all that said, and kind of where I started was that, there's at these award shows, it almost seems like, feels like there's a demonic presence, and I know some of y'all you're gonna call me crazy or whatever, but it's no secret that I feel that way. I've talked to y'all about it before. And watching the reaction of some who have found themselves on the opposite side of the political aisle respond to some of the things that have been said about them. And I'm talking about Nicki Minaj in particular. You all know at this point that she's aligned herself with the MAGA movement and Donald Trump, and that has made her a target for these individuals. And Trevor Noah, I don't remember what he said, but he said something about Nicki Minaj is not here. She's with she's still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues, and talked about them discussing whose butt is bigger or whatever. He said that, and she's still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues, saying, "Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest butt. I have it." Everybody's saying it. Nikki, he was impersonating Trump at that point. So Nikki, who has been, as I noted, extremely outspoken in her support for Trump, even calling herself his number one fan, as she did last week at that what was it, the event he was holding? I don't even remember what it was. She didn't take those comments lying down, and she went on a Twitter tirade. She went on an X tirade, and I'm gonna read you some of these tweets, okay? And take them for what they're worth. Some of them you're gonna say, she's just running her mouth. Some of them may have some truth to them. I don't know. Well, the first one she posted, she says, Trevor refuses to come out of the closet when everyone in the industry knows his boyfriend, allegedly. She posted a picture of her wearing a MAGA-esque hat that says Nikki was right about everything. But beside it is two pictures posted of Jay-Z. And I don't know if she's alluding to Trevor Noah being boyfriends with Jay-Z or whatever. But nonetheless, she goes on. And she said, are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story times since I was trying to, since I was trying to say, since I was trying not to say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated and until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard. I guess I don't know if there's a Rico investigation or what. A lot of it I don't know the backstory to. The thing goes on to say any Christian who votes Democrat again is a fool. They're showing people that it's okay to disrupt church during worship. This is how they truly feel about you. The veil is lifted. No morals, no integrity. It's not enough for them to have an opinion. They've escalated to physical intrusion of places of worship. The demons inside of them are so bothered all of the time. She then says they sabotaged a documentary because I spoke out about abuse that I suffered. They've been trying to stall all my projects and hope I'd lose a bunch of money and beg them for help. Their leaders still think it's a joke. The destruction that's about to come down on them isn't funny. I told y'all to leave me alone. Now you'll understand why you should have just sat there and taken your meds. And that wasn't it. She goes on and on. And, with the release of the Epstein files, maybe there's some truth to it. That was the other thing that Billie Eilish said. She said nobody is illegal on stolen land. That was her big remarks last night when she won was it album of the year, song of the year, or something. And so, anyway, I'm back to Nicki Minaj. And some of y'all are gonna think she's crazy. Some of y'all are gonna think, okay, maybe there's something to this. But nonetheless, she talked about several things. She talked about the abuse that she suffered. She's been trying to put a documentary up, and they've been sabotaging it. She posted a picture of Jay Z and with a hashtag child predator, which is him standing with some girl. I'm not familiar who she is. She looks pretty young though. Uh, she then took aim at Democrats. She said they're flying in immigrants to vote because they reneged on all the promises they made to African Americans and can no longer get the African American vote by default. They're causing distractions in the streets to distract from the billions they stole from taxpayers. She also says the LGBT has also started seeing through the veil and it has them pissed off. Why are they getting the gay vote by default? They moved on from the gay vote to flying in people to vote for them. No loyalty to anyone. The gay community should be able to choose every 4 years, like everyone else, after the Democrats campaign to win your vote. They should not just get your vote. Wake up. She also says everyone knows Chrissy Teigen has slash had a wee willy winker, allegedly. She says she also says before saying toodles, she said, as they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed is the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that rises up against me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Watch. That's all from Nicki Minaj last night. She didn't take kindly to the shots at her, which were pretty mild. But the thing is, uh, the thing about people in the music industry that break away from, call it the handlers, call it whatever, that end up going off the reservation and being condemned by everybody else in that industry, they all have a very similar story. They all speak of abuse. They all speak of rituals. They all speak of like some very weird stuff. And as I'm seeing her lay that out, and it's a story that I've heard before, I'm simultaneously watching these Epstein files be produced and reading through some of it and can't help but tie the two things together. Again, on its face, and for most people, they're going to read this tweet and think Nikki's crazy, saying, oh, are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? Like that's pretty crazy. And in human nature, and I'm not saying this is true or it's not. I'm telling you what we see and what we're told. Um, as human beings, it is extremely hard, if not near impossible, to allow your brain to believe that stuff like that actually happens. But it's just in order to let your guard down and believe that that is actually happening, not just in the world. And we know there's some very barbaric things happening all over the world, but to believe those things are happening in this country, you are giving up a sense of security that is built within you. You're giving up this sense of security to say, wow, the world is far more evil than I thought it was. Far more evil than I could have ever understood. But the reality is, this kind of stuff happens in other places all over the world. And what we seem to take in the case of the Epstein files, what we take away from that is that it is possible that that powerful individuals from this country were going to other parts of the world and committing such heinous crimes, in particular against children. So as people distance themselves from the larger music industry or from larger Hollywood and they continue to have that same story, I can't help but think that raises red flags. I mean, you got to say there's something to it. 205-545-9950. I've got some examples for you that we'll get to here in a moment. Let me get Rick. Rick, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I was wanting to say, this is God's country, and we're His. He made everything, and our system of government was formed by Christianity. In other words, our forefathers were Christians. They gave us the rights. They gave the power back to the people. Took it away from the government. They established the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We got separation of powers, and people take an oath. They're supposed to be providing for domestic tranquility, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to give us a right to life, right?
Right.
I don't know. What do you think about all that?
No, I got you. I got you. And all of that's exactly right. At the end of the day, you're talking about the forefathers. You want to talk about some foresight that they had in knowing, hey, we need to set things up this way and that way in order to protect from all these different scenarios that could pop up along the way over the years. It's not perfect by any means, but it is
No.
as close to perfect as any other country has ever gotten in their system of government. As you mentioned, separation of powers and things of this nature that have been a safeguard against, bad people and bad actors coming into government and attempting to ruin this country and what this country was founded on. So I'm with you.
That's right. All right. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate you, buddy. Good to hear from you as always. You think about that though. You think about the fact that, and again, I put the number one thing is, without God, like the founders would have never been able to accomplish what they accomplished. I truly believe that. The ability to be able to look ahead hundreds of years and to say we need to set stuff up in this manner in order to protect this from happening, in order to protect us from what was happening to us across the pond, to protect us from this or these outside forces or this or that. Talk about intuitive. Talk about being able to look into the future and saying this could possibly happen. How do we protect against that? Those guys were on top of it. Bubba Rumble's up next in Arizona. Bubba, what's up?
Hey to the now, and amen to Brother Rick.
Hey now.
This is a Christian nation, god dang it.
That's right.
So anyway, Pizzagate was real. Everybody knows it's true. They do. Pizzagate is real.
I was actually I've gotten into. I was talking to Trish about this yesterday, and I'm like, that documentary called Out of the Shadows, which if people have never seen it, Liz Crokin's in it. That's a must watch documentary. This just goes further to show that there was something to that, and the media did a tremendous job. I'll give them credit. They did a tremendous job of downplaying this and making it into one of the kookiest, wackiest, most unbelievable conspiracy theories. And even on its face, it's unbelievable to protect those who were in fact involved in it. And so here we go.
Well, yeah, and there's just too much to cover, just like one show even on Pizzagate. But it's weird how this Patsy guy shows up, allegedly shooting at the owner of Comet Pizza, but the only thing he hit was this massive server they had inside the pizza place. Like all pizza places have or double as data centers, right?
Right.
And then the guy's basically like on the run for a while and ends up getting smoked by a cop a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago. He was shot and killed in a traffic stop.
yeah, so that's strange, and then all this other things popping up about the lingo and the terminology reminds me of the fact that Barry Soetoro loves hot dogs so much that he had a $75,000 hot dog party hosted by the same chef that was the super athletic guy, but apparently the world's worst swimmer because he drowned in like 2 or 3 feet of water behind Obama's house.
Yeah. That's a little strange. By the way, that's a lot of hot dogs. I mean,
That is a lot of hot dogs.
that's a big hot dog party.
So yeah, and then up pops all these tweets from Chrissy Teigen over the past few years, like really disturbing subject matter that nobody called her out on, and then it all comes back full circle to Barry Soetoro kind of because there's an interview her and that not so legendary John Legend dude are at some award ceremony. It might have been the Grammys, I'm not sure, but somebody was asking him, it was just kind of joking around about freaky Hollywood party type stuff and freaky parties they've been to. And she looks over at John Legend and is like, oh, there was that night at the Obamas. And then he looks at her and goes, oh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
No, I remember that. I remember that.
So anyway, it's all kind of coming unraveled, but now in will step the fourth branch of government, the lamestream legacy media, to reaffirm the fact that that's all conspiracy theories. They're going to be working overtime this week, but
well, I've noticed as I haven't watched a lot of news coverage over the weekend, but just in the sense of Fox News, I have not really seen them talk at all about the Epstein files, and they're probably going to use the excuse that some of the stuff is just too graphic of subject matter for them to even bring up or whatever. But they've talked about the Melania movie. Now they've got this Savannah Guthrie's mom to cover for it. They're trying to steer away from it because they've probably been given a directive of don't you dare touch the Pizzagate deal because it's back in people's purview. People can see it. It's on Twitter. It's on everything else. Don't you dare talk about it. I mean, you can go back. Chris Cuomo told us that it was illegal for us to read the Podesta emails. Does everybody remember that? He was on CNN doing a story about it. He's like, just so you know, it's illegal for you to read these WikiLeaks emails. And it's like, okay, that's the red flag. The only other thing that's even close to that is when who was it? Was it de Blasio telling us we could get a free burger and fries if we took a vaccine? Like those are red flags unlike anything I have ever seen in my entire life. You don't tell me it's illegal to read something on the internet. Give me a break.
Just majorly gaslighting. And yeah, Podesta the molester should be in prison for the stuff that was on his computer, and so should Crocodile Hunter for that matter. But they're the elites. They're the untouchables, the priest class, whatever you want to call these people. And it's just sickening that we got truly evil people running free in the world and gaslighting us about their evil deeds. And like those Chrissy Teigen tweets that are coming out, man, those are worth talking about because, loose lips sink ships, I guess, would be a good way to sum all that up. So hopefully she sealed her own fate by bragging, because there's also that thing where they got to brag about what they're doing, whatever that all is,
Well, that goes back to the, Church of Satan or the religion of Satanism, to where they are required to show themselves to whether that's through symbolism or whatever. They don't necessarily have to come outright and just say it, but they have to have symbolism to show the rest of the world, hey, this is what I'm involved with. This is what I align in, what I believe in. And, with most religions, I mean, that's kind of the case, right? You believe in, if you're a Christian, you're supposed to outwardly show that you're a Christian, whatever religion across the world. So it's similar, but they do it their way. They do it in symbolism, but they still try to hide it. They try to hide it in plain sight.
Yeah, kind of like the Black Left Eye Club.
Right.
It's all right there in our faces, man. And like, I'm not doubting the veracity of any of this, but I don't have a major media outlet to gaslight people over. So, man, it's just going to be a really bad thing if all this comes back to the surface and within a week it's not even be talked about anymore, because we're talking about innocent lives being taken by a bunch of devil worshippers, man.
Amen to that.
All right, brother.
All right, see you, Carlos.
Hey, man.
Hey now, Bubba. I knew Bubba was going to be on top of this stuff. He's on the. If there's anybody in this audience that's on the same wavelength as me, at least out of the people that call the show, sad guy. Like, he's on it. Let me take this break. I'll go through some of these Chrissy Teigen old tweets. I hadn't seen them as of late, but I've read them before, and they were, from what I remember, pretty disturbing. We'll see what we got and much more. 205-545-9950. More of The Line right after this. And listen, I understand more than a lot of people that it's hard to get the average person to wrap their mind around this, because it's just so unbelievable, and that can also be explained by Hollywood and the CIA and everything else, and their years of trying to condition people to buy into a narrative that, you know, isn't reflected by reality, or if in fact that there's something that's that sinister or that evil out there, they can go out and they can make a movie to say, hey, well, this movie's about MK Ultra, for instance. They can go out and make a movie like Zoolander, And you watch Zoolander, and it's essentially about MK Ultra. And then anytime MK Ultra comes up in the future, you're kind of like, yeah, but that's from a fictional movie like Zoolander. That's not real, but it is real. Well, the government admits it's real, but you know that's the way they do. It's the way Hollywood operates, and it's tied directly back to the government. It's tied back to the CIA. All this is proven. This is not Andrew McLean conspiracy theory hour. I'm not telling you stuff that's just what I believe. Those are facts. That's true, and you can research it yourself. You don't have to take my word on it. But as Bubba mentioned, there was a point where Chrissy Teigen deleted thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of tweets from her account referencing pedophilia, which was very bizarre. Also talking about eating human flesh, and nobody ever said to themselves, like, why is this individual still allowed to have any sort of attention, and why is she not being investigated for one reason or another? I'll just give you some, and these are disturbing, but I'm just gonna read them to you. In one, she says, this is from 2014. She says, if you said, eat this one bite of human and you can eat any other meat the rest of your life, or, Chrissy, you eat turkey forever, I'd eat human. Chrissy Teigen said that. She also said at one point in January of 2013, well before there was any Pizzagate on anybody's radar, she says, quote, I am going to jail over pizza. As you know, pizza is a prominent term used in the pedophile world where they converse back and forth. This is all on the FBI website. They got certain terminology from pizza to handkerchief to different things they use to subvert detection by authorities to talk about their sick fantasies. This one from 2011. Seeing little girls do the splits half naked is so just ... I want to put myself in jail. Hashtag toddlers and tiaras. This one from 2012. She says, skinny pedos drink Pedialyte. This one from 2011. Water slide that goes through a Shark Tank? F yeah. Time to get my pedo on. Hashtag solo rider. This one says, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit. It's a reply to somebody named Kevin Shockey. She said, no, he just said the cleanest and best pleasure is to, you know what, with a 13-year-old. Up until that, ... ha ha, ha ha ha. She also said in 2011, I'm about to Anthony Weiner this kid. Also in 2011, it always weirds me out how strong little toddlers' tummies can look. And I am aware of how absolutely disturbing that sounds. Hashtag TCAP. Tens of thousands. There's videos out there of her talking about how she would happily eat human flesh. And because she deleted all those tweets, again, thousands and thousands of them, we're supposed to just be like, okay, well, she can get back into the spotlight and we'll pretend like she's just a normal celebrity like everybody else. And I haven't even talked about the Epstein files yet. We'll get into that next.